The philosophy wasn't that great. I felt over the course of the series that the team management knew that their batting was in a lot of trouble.
There was no other bowler. It looked like we needed three Bumrahs to win this test series because no other bowler was giving that kind of a support.
Obviously, things would have been different if we had Shami. First of all, he didn't come to the entire series because he wasn't fit in.
Out of the entire batting lineup, apart
Yeah.
from Rishabh Pant, who has already proved himself in the Australian conditions. Yashasvi was the only one that we were quite sure of, confident of that. Yeah, he's going to prove his mettle again here. You have to realize that you are the shining star of India. You are the captain that just won the Cricket World Cup. You have the glory moments as well. You took the team to the World Cup ODI 2023 final as well. There is a time to say goodbye.
Lost his nerve in the end, did Michael Holan try. And Lord Carr, chairman of the Prudential.
They're running. It's got to be a direct hit. Getting back for two. That is the end of the match. Won the NatWest Series.
Yes, it would have been fantastic if it would have been 100. In the air, Srishan takes it. India win. Dhoni finishes off in style. A magnificent strike into the crowd. Here we go, last ball to the outside, it's running through, it could be run out.
Wide, Muller gets it, and he gets plenty of it, does he? No! What a catch! Oh my God!
It's in the air, it's India who win the T20 World Cup after 17 years.
Hello and welcome to Cricket Castaway. This is me, Divyansh, and with me there is Nishant, and we are back again with the analysis, or you can say the overview, or how it happened, what happened across the BGT this season. And today we are going to discuss what went wrong, what went right, and what exactly caused the collapse of the high flying Indian horses who kind of set a miraculous record last previous two times when they toured Australia. They really took Australia by storm and retained the Border Gavaskar Trophy for the last 8 years. And what happened this time? So we are going to discuss all of this. But first of all, Nishant, welcome to the channel. And how are you doing today?
No, I'm good. It's pretty cold out here in Delhi, so just enjoying the Delhi weather. Australia did give us a massive, massive shock to this entire team, I would say. I mean, we both, at the start of the series, we both thought that it would be very, very difficult for us to win this series. We could have retained the Border Gavaskar Trophy, obviously, if we could draw the last Test match. But overall, I think a humbling experience for the Indian cricket team, specifically for our two legends of the game in the batting. So yeah, we'll come to that. But yeah, I think it was sometimes a tough series to watch as an Indian fan.
Yeah, definitely letting the crucial chances go away, letting the crucial moments slip away. Every time we thought we had it in our control, be it in MCG, be it in Brisbane, or be it in Sydney. So I think apart from Adelaide, which was a pink ball test match, which is Australia's supremacy, you can say. But apart from that, in every test match, and Perth, of course, we won. But in rest of the three test match, there were moments where we could have taken the hold of the situation. We could have commanded how this match will go forward, but we just let it slip away. And game after game,
Yeah.
it becomes kind of exhausting and disappointing as a fan to watch your favorite players just let it all go away. So that was
Yeah.
really heartbreaking.
Yeah, I think the philosophy right from the go wasn't that great for me. We actually, I felt over the course of the series that the team management knew that their batting was in a lot of trouble. So they just tried to bolster the batting any which way they could, and that meant they sacrificed a lot of the firepower in their bowling, and they just left Jasprit Bumrah hung out to dry there. So because he what he had to go through this series isn't fair on him, whatever had happened. But yeah, I mean, the start was pretty unexpected. I mean, we got out early in the first innings of that Perth Test match, which was kind of expected. But the way we came back to win the Test match in the second inning, Yashasvi and KL putting on that 200-run stand for the opening wicket, uh, that actually really uh, put forward an idea that no, hang on, this Indian team does have a bit of spirit in them, and they are gonna make a series out of it. Uh, but that then quickly faded away with the pink test and in Brisbane. It yeah, it was at the end not so great watch because, as you rightly said, it looked like Bumrah was getting tired and tired and tired every day, and if we keep bowling him, he'll end up getting injured, which he did eventually. Even on the last day, I felt like if Bumrah was there and he wasn't injured, we could have probably drawn or even won that game. But it's just so much over reliance on him. We didn't have any other bowler to support him, and yeah, that was basically how it turned out. And now we are out of the World Test Championship final as well.
Yeah, definitely. We lost the BGT and we also lost our place in the World Test Championship final. And yeah, it was like there was no other bowler. We needed it looked like we needed three Bumrahs to win this test series because no other bowler was giving that kind of a support. I know like Siraj is a workhorse and he tried his best, but he never looked that threatening to the Australian batting side that even if Bumrah is not bowling, he can take the mantle like he did in his last tour here, where he was just playing his first or second test match and he was leading the fast bowling side. So that kind of leadership we could not witness this time from Siraj, and that's where the Indian team faltered. I was looking at a stat even, and it was mind-boggling. Like Bumrah and Siraj together bowled 308 overs in the entire series, and rest of all the other bowlers that were used, they bowled in total 312, which includes Washi, Nitish Reddy, Harshit Rana, Akash Deep, and even Prasidh Krishna. So all the other bowlers that were used apart from these two, they were almost equal to the amount of bowling that these two did. And
Yeah,
then we see that the kind of potency that we were expecting, like even if Siraj would have been half as potent as Bumrah was in his 151 overs that he bowled, it could have been a different scenario. So we were definitely missing the
yeah,
likes of Shami, and even I think even if we would have an Arshdeep, it would be quite different. Instead of a Prasidh Krishna or instead of a Harshit Rana, I think a left-handed fast bowler who can move ball both the sides could have been a game changer in this scenario. So
yeah,
yeah, it was really a lone battle for Bumrah this time, and
yeah,
that's where we kind of deflated our own campaign. Obviously
yeah.
supported by
I
the
think,
colossal batting failure. That's also there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think first of all these things that are coming out in the media that things would have been different if we had Shami. Obviously, things would have been different if we had Shami. That's not even a debate. But just look at Shami. First of all, he didn't come to the entire series because he wasn't fit enough. Let's say even if he was fit enough by the second test or the third test, the amount of overs you're expecting him to bowl when the guy is just coming after an injury was never gonna happen. So, I mean, he wasn't, if even if he like came in the third test or so, and you bowled him as much as you've bowled Bumrah and Siraj, he would have been the first one to go back to the injury bench, right? So it wasn't going to happen. Look at the bowlers that we took. So Harshit Rana hasn't played that much of a red ball domestic cricket. Prasidh Krishna is just coming back from injury, and Akash Deep has only bowled for you in the first two series coming back in India. So before that, he didn't have that much of a red ball experience as well. So these guys were not, their bodies weren't ready for such a tough 44-day tour, five test matches crammed in between. And that's what we saw. After the first test, Harshit got a niggle, couldn't recover from it. That's why in the last test, Prasidh played instead of Harshit because Harshit was feeling that niggle. You bowled Akash Deep in the second, third, and the fourth, and he broke down. By the end, Bumrah broke down, so it was only Siraj that was left. So I think bowling wise, the planning wasn't great for anything, if you ask me. I mean,
Yes.
what's the logic of putting Sarfaraz in the team against Bangladesh and New Zealand, and then him getting a 150, and then you don't even play him for one match in Australia? There are a lot of choices I didn't understand. I mean, you bowled Akshar Patel in New Zealand for one or two of the test matches, then you don't consider him for there, who is an experienced guy. You're bringing in Washington Sundar and you're also bringing in Nitish Reddy, but both of them aren't bowling. You're playing Jadeja, but Jadeja isn't bowling. So you're only basically putting them in like pure batters, and then you can play pure batters. You don't have to compromise on your bowling. It was just uh, very strange kind of a series, and a lot of questions will be asked by for Gautam Gambhir, I think, after this, because um, it's just the idea behind how you're gonna approach the series. I think that was wrong in the first place.
Yeah, definitely. The philosophy of having too many options in bowling department, that works perfectly fine in IPL or in T20 cricket overall, that Gautam Gambhir follows. But in Test cricket, there is still place for purists. There is still place for specialist batsmen and bowlers, which would be there because it's a different kind of a beast altogether, and you had to think accordingly that that is how it is going to work. You cannot expect some all-rounders who are part-time bowlers and who can just come and blow the Australians from their bowling. It is not going to happen. And partially the blame also goes to our core batting lineup because they failed so miserably that it always came to the number six, seven, eight to get India to a respectable total at least. So yeah, it's not entirely Gautam Gambhir's fault. It's also shared by the guys like Rohit Sharma,
Yeah,
Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli. They didn't fire except Kohli's 100 in the first match, which we could have already we would have anyways won, even if he had not scored a century. So apart from that, whenever the pressure was on, our backs were against the wall, and we needed our middle order to take the responsibility. That did not happen. So that is also a major contributor in going with this
yeah,
philosophy of part-timers. But I think, yeah, just like Australia played a punt with Sam Constas, who irritated the hell out of Indian team. We could have also used Sarfaraz, even if he is giving modest batting returns, he could have really irritated them at maybe short leg or in any closing fielder position. So we should have tried Sarfaraz at least for the last two test match, I think.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, let's get to the meat of it. Let's what we are gonna do is we're gonna walk through the first 11 of the Indian team, and let's see how their performance was overall in the series. And then probably that is going to be the episode for today. And probably in the next episode, we'll take a deep dive into Australia, Divyansh. So let's start with, I think, after Bumrah, our second best player of this series, our opener, Yashasvi Jaiswal. Going into this series, he was our most prolific batter this year, and he has had a really good series. This Border Gavaskar for the first time, a guy is touring Australia. He's a young guy. The ball is seaming around. It's bouncing all over the place. The kind of temperament that he showed. I mean, this guy was spectacular in this series, I would say.
Definitely, definitely. Such a and we knew going into this series that he is the most promising out of the entire batting lineup, apart from Rishabh Pant, who has already
Yeah,
proved himself in the Australian conditions. Yashasvi was the only one that we were quite sure of, confident of that. Yeah, he's going to prove his mettle again here. Uh, we had already seen how good he was under domestic conditions against England, Bangladesh. So we knew how lethal he can be in domestic conditions, but this was the time for him to go down under and with stark breathing fire and uh, taste the flavor of Australian soil and how you handle the crowd there, the hostile crowd of Australia, and how do you respond to the conditions overall. And he came out guns blazing, but first innings he did not fire, but after that he made a quick turnaround within 24 hours since we got out Australia on the second day itself, their first innings. And then he came and at the end of day two, he was there standing at 90 not out. So that proves that he has what it takes at the bigger stage, and he showed glimpses of it throughout the series. Like he's the second highest scorer in the entire series from both the teams. So after Travis Head, he's the most successful batsman in this series. So that proves that how good he was in this series.
yeah. Yeah, I think as you rightly said, it's the ability to understand and judge the situation very, very quickly and adapt to it. So in the first innings, in the Perth test, I thought because it was his first test match ever in Australia and he wanted to make a name for himself so much, and he was in so much confidence that he thought he'll just take stars and Stark and Cummins apart. That didn't pan out, and he quickly realized that. And in the next inning, that 160 that he scored, I mean, one of the better Test match hundreds that you're ever gonna see from a youngster uh, playing in Australia. First time he's gone there. Over the course of the next two test matches didn't really pan out the way that he wanted, but over the course of the series, you saw him grow and grow and grow, and you saw a different side to his batting. He was ready to grind it out. He was ready to. Uh, he knew his job. A opener's job in a test match is simply to get the ball old, to make sure that your number three and number four are only out there when the ball is at least 30 or 40 years old. That's just the basic of it, right? And when nobody else was able to do that, he was doing it very, very well. And though for the series, his average is 43, which you would say he could have averaged more. But since it was his first series, I think it was a brilliant one. Um he, I think the way that he batted, um, he deserved a bit more out of this series because he took the pressure on so much. In the last test match, it felt like it was the world against him and everything was on his shoulders because he himself, I guess, knew at that point of time, it was the first test, the fifth test, that his
Yeah.
team wasn't really going to stay with him on the crease and grind it out. So he was playing all kinds of roles in this team. He was playing the Pujara role, he was playing the opener's role, he was playing all sorts of roles in there. And he just had that one bad day where he kept missing a lot of catches in the field, and though that turned out to be pretty critical, but I think that can happen to anyone. But
Yeah.
overall, a brilliant, I think, brilliant performance from him in this series, and one of the few things that are good to come out of this series for India. And probably, yeah, I'll give him an 8 out of 10 for the BGT 2024. What about you?
Definitely, definitely. I'll even give him 9 out of 10. Looking at the failures of Indian batting order, I think he was one of the mainstays, along with KL Rahul and to some sort our lower batting order. Uh, it was him who kind of steadied the ship whenever we were in troubled waters, and that's how important his role was. And yeah, a brilliant, brilliant performance for a 23-year-old guy in his first tour to Australia and facing such an experienced pace attack. I think it was commendable.
Yeah. I mean, the way he was, because we talked about it right before the start of the series that it's going to be a really bouncy pitch and the balls will be coming here. It'll be You'll be playing on this length all the time. And Yashasvi in India showed a bit of a problem against the balls coming at this length. But I mean, he never showed any trouble in the entire series. There were a few times when Stark did get him out, but that was just very good deliveries. And by the end of the series, I could just notice that it wasn't his time, and India wasn't going to win this series because in every inning, Yashasvi was the one who got the best ball to get out to. So it would just pitch on the middle and take the top of off stump every
Yes.
time. It happened two, three times, and he was just getting the best deliveries to get out to. So I mean, that just shows that he is somebody to really look forward to and really enjoy over the coming years. Uh,
Definitely, he's
Second,
going to be star in the coming tours as well. When
yeah.
we would have a better, a balanced batting performance, then he would definitely shine in the future.
Yeah, yeah. So in the first test, KL opened against with him. So let's start with KL, and we'll probably move to Rohit next. Uh, First test match, I mean, KL was looking really good. Uh, but then I don't think it really materialized. I mean, when you look at his numbers, five test matches, an average of 30. uh, for a guy who we're considering is our second most consistent batter in this series. I mean, those numbers just tell you a story of what the batting collapse has happened for India in this series because it's not good enough. I don't think it's good enough at all.
Yeah, definitely. It did not reflect the potential he carries, although he did play good cricket in bits and pieces, but it could have been way much better. The the way the fans were kind of expecting him to explode in the next inning, then again in the next inning, and they all were expecting a big daddy 100 from KL, and it never came. So that was also one of the crucial points. Like although he did give good partnerships with Yashasvi, but if he could have just upped his game probably in MCG where it was required the most. We could have definitely drawn that match, and we would have gone in the final Sydney Test match as 1-1, and then it could have been a different scenario altogether. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
it was.
he looked in good form in the first two test matches. As you rightly said, MCG was the time that he needed to come good. And I mean, if you gotta win these series, sometimes it's the individual players who have to step up. Like there is no other way. I mean, Labushan wasn't scoring any runs in this series, but he was there to grind it out, and he won that one test match on his own with his 50s and 60s, and that's fine. I mean, if you're so much out of form, fans understand that. But
Yeah,
he was looking in really good form and he was looking in really good touch and just couldn't convert. And after MCG, when he couldn't convert in the fourth and the fifth test match, it just tapered off. So the
yeah,
gas was just all gone. And he should have scored at least one or even two hundreds in this series. That was the kind of form he was in. And it's a bit unfair to him because for the last couple of years they were trying him in the middle order. Then suddenly he's been asked to open the innings and he does well. He does actually brilliantly in the first two games. And then you're again just tampering with his position, which doesn't help any player, I must say. But yeah, I think the way that he was playing, I was expecting a lot more from his batting. I'll probably give him a 6.5, but not
yeah.
more than that. I think because he could have done a lot more by the form that he was carrying.
Yeah, he had composure throughout the series. He always looked in the zone and almost every time playing more than 30 balls and just looking really good playing those cover drives whenever the opportunity arise. And then he was also good in leaving the balls that were not meant to be played. So he was doing everything right. Somewhere it didn't turn out to be as successful as it should have. Like once or twice, it was a really good delivery he got, but apart from that, he also played into the hands of Australia sometime. Like I remember, I think it was one of the test matches where he played a pull shot just right into the hands of
Yeah,
at square
yeah,
leg. He played a pull
yeah,
shot and
yeah.
it was right into the
It was
hands
the
of the
last
field.
test match.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So there was no need. Like he was he's always known for playing grounded shots and timing and the placement of his shots, and that was really a nothing shot that he played in that match. So these kind of shots we do not expect from KL Rahul, and yeah, somehow he couldn't deliver on the promise that he's shown in Perth and even throughout the series. So it was really
yeah,
disappointing.
yeah. How much do you give him?
I'll give him a 7 probably.
Yeah, yeah. As you rightly said, I mean, by the end when it tapered off, I think the entire batting unit had lost all the morale. So that's how it was, and that's reflected in everyone's performances. So it was a bowler-dominated series, so probably not a lot of batters will get high scores here. But yeah, it was a big opportunity for KL, which I think he has badly missed, and I don't think he himself has any future now in the Test series. For me, I mean, he's also had a lot of chances. This was a big one, and he probably missed it. So, moving on to Rohit. I mean, you take the floor here. I mean, I'll join you.
I mean, it's like a situation like where the person himself knows he is not in the greatest of forms, but he is still adamant to just prove himself. Like probably he took inspiration from some of the great batsmen in the past who uh, who recovered from their lean patch in within during the test series while struggling to find their form and their touch and timing, and I thought he went with the same thought process that okay, I'll struggle out there in the middle and somehow it will click and I'll find my form. But that should have become clear to him in a innings or a couple of innings at max. it clicks to you like, okay, if I'm finding some form, if I'm close to breaking out of this shell of lean patch or not. But he kept trying and trying, and it really came to this in the last test match that he had to do a cover up, like I'm taking rest or I'm dropping myself for the betterment of the team.
Sorry to interrupt you, but what do you think of that interview he did in the last test when he was dropped? I mean, he came out and he said that I'm not retiring and it's nothing like that. It's just the team needed it. So I'm just taking a break from this one. I mean, you're 38. You
Yeah.
haven't played well for probably 2 years. You were brilliant, brilliant, brilliant white ball batter, and there is no denying that. But you were never a test legend in the first place.
Yes.
Past few years haven't been that great. I mean, what are you doing by saying that you're not retiring? Do you mean that you wanna go and struggle in England again, where the ball swings even more than it does in Australia? And
Yes.
I mean, I just it didn't sit right with me. Why would you want to spoil your legacy? I mean, that's the whole point of it, right? I mean, everybody in the world can see it that the test game is past you now. And if you can't see it, then I think it's just sad and probably a bit stubborn. And I never thought Rohit was stubborn.
Yeah, that's true. That's really true. Somewhere you have to realize that yes, you are the shining star of India. You are the captain that just won the Cricket World Cup, and and you have the glory moments as well. You took the team to the World Cup ODI 2023 final as well. But there is a time to say goodbye, and I think this is the moment where he should realize that at least he's now not uh, really fit enough or really good enough to play Test cricket because of the shortcomings that he has, and the way he's unable to time the ball, unable to even see through difficult phases when the ball is moving around, and there is variable bounce. So I think he should let go of that feeling that I can still make a comeback. It's not everyone can be a Sachin, or not everyone can be a Steve Smith, who struggled throughout the series but still managed to get hold of his own and made a comeback within the series. I think he was quite inspired by that as well. But I think Steve Smith is on another level, and he's quite young still. He's just 34, so he's 4 years younger than Rohit Sharma. So his reflexes and hand-eye coordination is still there in place, as if we compare
Yeah,
it to Rohit Sharma. So I think he just have to realize it within himself. And I think there were talks and there were funny things happening around on Instagram, like Vidya Balan posting a tweet, who has never tweeted about anyone apart from Sachin Tendulkar. If we talk about cricket, it looked like things were getting staged from their PR to to uh, create an environment of support for Rohit, and just to cheer him up. I think these are kind of kiddish things. If somehow his team is involved in that, I think that's really not a great thing. Like, we do not expect it from such a giving player like Rohit Sharma. I think that was really funny. If
yeah,
like when I saw that tweet, like I really I was laughing so hard that
yeah.
how can this happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange world that we live in. I mean, social media perception is everything, right? But you and me, we woke up like at 5 a.m. every day in India and watch these matches. We've been watching Test cricket for so long. I mean, you can try and improve your perception by a few tweets, paid tweets from actors, from all the supporters, and your troll armies will like go behind you and start abusing Virat Kohli and start abusing Rishabh Pant and whatever. I mean, that just keeps on happening. But at the core of it, the reality is that you are now old for test matches.
Yes.
You don't have the reflexes that you had before, and you can't deal with a swinging ball. And that means you are not fit to be an opener. And if you
Yes.
see yourself as an opener for Indian Test side, I mean, you can try, but if you want to try it in Ranji, try it in domestic. And Saurav Ganguly had to go back to domestic, right? He proved himself in domestic. He came back, played in England, and then retired after that series. He just played that one series. I mean, if you want that kind of a thing, you can have that. That's open for every player. But I
Right.
don't think there's a place available in in the test side for now. And for me, I think 3.5 or 4 for his performance in the series.
Yeah, definitely. Even he was really defensive in his captaincy too. So like
Yeah,
I would give him only three because it was an
yeah,
overall poor show from Rohit Sharma as a captain and as a player. There was no clarity of thoughts, and he really overbowled Bumrah in the matches that he captained during this series, and I think he could have given him shorter spells and uh, gave Nitish Reddy some more overs, and I think he's a young guy, he could take it, and there was no
yeah,
harm in giving him extra 3-4 overs in each spell. So yeah,
yeah,
overall it was a poor show. Yes.
yeah. Moving on, our would-be number three in the future, Mr. Shubman Gill, with a lot of fanfare and a lot of potential. And you kept telling me it's the Senna Nishant, and in the Senna he's just not gonna perform. It's just he hasn't done so, and I really had big hopes for him. I thought he had the game. I thought the last Australia series he had a few good knocks. But yeah, by the end of the series, even he looks like someone whose place in the June, July England series is gonna be in question. I mean, if you aren't able to face the moving ball, and if you can only score a 30 or a 35 odd run inning batting at number three for India, I think there are better players around there who can do that
Yeah,
more
definitely.
consistently.
More consistently. Yes, even guys like Sarfaraz, guys like Rituraj Gaikwad, they can play better than him right now. Like he's not sure of his footwork. I mean, the way he tried to just hit Nathan Lyon out of the park and just coming out of his crease and having no idea where the ball is going to pitch. I think that itself says a lot about the form Shubman Gill is in right now. And if considering my opinion, I think. He really needs to, if he wants to play, have a good performance, have a good outing in England, I think he should skip the IPL and he should just play some county cricket like the old school way. Guys like even Sachin Tendulkar, VVS Lakshman, Saurav Ganguly, Rahul Dravid, these guys used to prepare like this before an England tour. They used to go to clubs like Hampshire or other county
Yeah.
cricket clubs, and they used to play a good
Yeah.
1 month of solid county cricket there just to get accustomed to the situation, how to adjust your game, and it takes time. You cannot just show up on a Old Trafford or a Lord's and just expect yourself to just fire straight away and score hundreds or do some things that are expected out of you. You can't do that. This is practically not possible, and even the greats have prepared that way. So, and he's a young guy. There would be a lot of IPLs he's going to play in the future. It's not the end of the road for him, and he can always come back and play the next IPL. But right now, he really needs to get hold of his form, and county cricket can go a long way. If he wants to improve, he can. But
Yeah.
I was watching a podcast just before our recording. It was by Saurabh Pant. So he was sitting with two other speakers there, and one of them said a really, really great thing that this Border Gavaskar Trophy, we are not playing with 11 cricket players. We are playing with two, three IPL players, two, three influencers, and only few cricketers. So this is a team of influencers, actors, and cricketers. So I think Shubman Gill looks like falling out of that cricketer category and more into an influencer sort of a person. So
Yeah.
it
I
would
mean,
be very tough.
we're now in 2025, right? Nobody is gonna miss an IPL for a test series, even though we love a test series much more than that. We're
Yeah.
not gonna do that. So IPL is there, and I think Shubman is fairly young, and the brunt of the beating will be taken up by Rohit and Virat. So I think he would get a pass from this one. The Champions Trophy is coming up. He's a gun white ball batter, so he'll get his form back in the white ball, and then probably he'll do really well in IPL. By the time IPL ends, he'll be straight back into the Test side. And
Yes.
probably rightly so as well, because when he'll start performing with the white ball, we'll soon realize, because we have such a short memory as well ourselves, right? So we'll
Right.
realize he's such a gun batter. He's scoring hundreds after hundreds, and we'll go on that bandwagon, and it's Shubman Gill again. And then when he, as you rightly said, reaches Old Trafford, and the pitch is lush green, and it's in early June, so that's just the start of the cricket season in England. Pitch would be fresh, it would be green,
Yes.
it will be swinging this much, and then Shubman won't be able to score. We already know that, but
Yeah,
I
that's
think
how
he'll
the story has become. In fact, all the players that have failed in BGT are just scratching their palms to get out and play the Champions Trophy because they know for sure they would score a 50, someone would score 100, and
yeah,
all that has happened in BGT will be forgotten. Then they will have a good IPL, and right after that in June we have the England tour, and then again all of these people will come into the test side based on the good run of a form in limited overs cricket,
yeah,
and then again they will fail. And I am assuming that one or the other fast bowler is going to be injured after the IPL, and he would not go to. It can either be Shami because
yeah.
he did not play last season, and he would be willing to give
Obviously,
it a
he'll be
try
back for the
in this
IPL.
IPL.
He
Yeah,
probably would be back for the Champions Trophy itself, because and that's why probably he missed the BGT, so that he wants to come back to the Champions Trophy. It's all about white ball.
yeah. Because here the workload is workload is
Yeah,
very, very less, and he will bowl 7 or 8 odd overs, and that would be fine.
yeah,
Uh, because we anyways will be playing in Dubai, and the spinners will make the ball talk there. Guys like Chakravarti, guys like Vishnoi, guys like Kuldeep Yadav, and he would have a supporting role there to play, and then
yeah,
he would move into IPL, and there he would be overbowled, and then I think back-to-back
yeah,
matches, switching venues, and by the time England series starts, he would be really exhausted.
yeah,
Same with Bumrah. The guy has to either skip Champions Trophy to play IPL, or he has to skip IPL to play the England tour. He has to make a choice here. And if
yeah,
he wants to make a punt for like he wants to go for the captaincy in the test series, then he has to skip these limited over tournaments on a priority basis. Otherwise, he can't. The result would be the same as was in BGT. He played all 5 test matches and then he was spent by the second day itself. Probably,
yeah,
some people are saying that this could be a factor in Bumrah deciding to bat first because he was not feeling like right away taking the
yeah,
ball and bowling. So that could be a
yeah,
factor because he was not feeling like it and he thought like, let me take a day and a half more to recover. but
Yeah,
our batting greats did not even give him that
yeah,
that luxury
yeah.
also.
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah. So that's about it for Shubman Gill. I think I'll rate him a 4. Not his fault. He missed the first Test match. He was
Yeah,
benched in the second one, so he got only 3 Test matches, but
same for
it's
me.
still
Yeah.
6 innings. So I think yeah, that's a 4 for him. Moving on from Shubman Gill, let's move to Virat. I mean, he got that 100. We'll give him that. But I don't think I've ever been this frustrated seeing someone get out on the same ball on loop. Every test match, it's the same ball. It's just playing with his head. I mean, he's just getting out in the same fashion, and it's so ugly at the end that you won't even believe that like this is happening to Virat, or this can happen to Virat. I mean, what do you make of his series? I was shocked. I actually thought after that 100 he would go on to have a good series. Contrary happened, and a lot more questions than answers again for Virat's case.
Yeah, if we remove that 100, he has scored only 90 runs in the next 8 innings. So you can see the story, the picture is on the wall here. I
Yeah,
think it was like it is so depressing, so you can say miserable when the bowler says, when Scott Boland says, we will keep the plan simple for Virat Kohli and it's going to work. They are 100% sure. They say we
yeah,
initially he's going to leave and leave and leave for the first 30 balls, and when he feels he's in, he is playing well. He will just again go and fish for that ball outside the off stump. So you just have to uh, just change the lines after first 30 balls, and he will fall to that. And he like how do we say it in Hindi? Like the way the great saying of gangs of Wasseypur,
yeah.
he's like Boland कह के ले रहा है कोहली के.
हाँ
That's the
एग्जैक्टली
best you can say.
वो कह वो कह के ही ले रहा है एक्चुअली सबने ली है कह के एंड फॉर कोहली इट्स really sad because I mean come on, I've been one of his greatest fans. I mean I thought like I've defended him a lot over the past couple of years. And even in 2024, in the test series that were happening in India, I was constantly defending him. But I mean, this is so hard to watch. Getting him to seeing him like this when like you're falling from grace. I mean,
Yes.
I would always say the first 6, 7 years of Kohli's career were the best I've ever seen anyone bat. But this has now become so sour and so ugly. I mean, ultimately, he was in during the test series after the Melbourne test and then the fourth and the fifth. He was trying to artificially manufacture anger within him. He was
Yes.
taking
Yes.
on the supporters. He was trying to charge himself up because he felt that if he went back to the Kohli of 4, 5 years old, where he was just all gun blazing in your face. Probably I'll get a lot of runs here, but it wasn't coming in his batting because he was so afraid, as you said, to get out on that off stump that the first 30, 40 balls he would just leave. But a Kohli who came in 2014 to the shores of Australia, in 2018 to the shores of Australia, in the first over, he would score a massive cover drive, get himself off the mark, put the bowlers under the pressure, no matter the situation he is coming into bat, and he would dominate the proceedings from there on. And
Right.
you were letting Scotty Boland bowl at you like ball after ball, right into that channel, and you were not doing anything. You were not upsetting his rhythm, and that meant that it wasn't the best watch, I must say. And I think again they both Rohit and Virat have retired from T20 setup. I think Champions Trophy will tell us about their one day futures. But for me, both Rohit and Virat should enjoy their cricket now and play IPL and let others take over at least the test matches and the T20s they have already given up. So, test matches, I think it's time for us to have a new number four.
Yes.
I can't actually. It's a lot more sad because you do want to see your stars do well, but they are just hurting themselves, and it's time for someone in the management, Ajit Agarkar, someone to put them out of their misery and take them out of this side because they are not going to go on their own.
Yeah, it's painful to see when your idols fall in front of you. But yeah, that's the nature of the game, and you have to accept that. And if you want to improve, then you have to prove that with your action. Go play in Ranji cricket. Do not take the next flight back to London just after playing a series. It does not work like that because you are not a 28-year-old anymore. You are not in the form of your life. You have to play county cricket, you have to play domestic cricket because you are failing against spin as well as pace equally. It's not like you are very, very comfortable in playing spin and you are just failing against the pacers. It was really visible even in the domestic series against Bangladesh and
Yeah,
New Zealand. Like spinners like I'm
yeah,
forgetting the name, the guy who took 10 wickets in an innings from New Zealand, Azaz Patel.
yeah.
Spinners like Azaz
Jas
Patel
Patel.
who are not even that great. They are taking your wicket and they are making you look like a novice on your own home turf. So these kind of things, like if you have that anger, if you have that ego, you should take it to your heart and you should prove that I am making efforts to change these things. But that's not looking like happening because I was trying to just map the schedule of the county cricket. So the county cricket there is no county cricket scheduled from after the IPL final date and from the first test of India versus England. There is no county cricket in between. So you cannot play IPL and then go and play county cricket. You have to choose one of them. And we all know which one is going to be chosen by every Indian cricketer.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No, no. I at this point of time, I don't even mind. I'm all for it. Play the IPL. I mean, the crowds are only coming in IPL any which way. So if I'm going out to watch a match, I'll probably watch an IPL game where there's a lot more atmosphere there. So play the IPL. Nobody's denying you that. But yeah, don't play test matches. It's
yeah,
past you now. You're also 36 years old. You're
yes.
having a huge problem outside of stump, and if you're having that problem outside of stump, I'm sorry, you can't survive England. England is going to be really hard for you, and I think for me, four for Virat Kohli. I mean, I can't give him more than that.
Yeah, say 3.5 from me, and
Yeah,
even some of the ex-Indian cricketers who are now commentators, I was listening to them, and they were saying out of the Fab Four, Virat Kohli uh, is the one who has the majority of front foot play only. Like he has the least
yeah.
amount of
Doesn't
back
play
foot
on
play.
back foot ever. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's why the scope of adjusting to the conditions or altering your way of play, it's not there, and he's also kind of limited in his ability to play shots. He's not a Sachin Tendulkar who can play an uppercut and who can play behind the square. Those range of shots does not exist with Virat Kohli. He is
no.
more focused on
Actually,
front foot play, and that's why.
actually, what has happened here is right. Virat Kohli used to be the flag bearer of Test cricket.
Yes,
But he hasn't reinvented his game in test matches. If you see in T20s, he has tried to reinvent his games. Now he is playing those flamboyant shots. He is connecting a lot more balls to sixes.
right.
But in Test cricket, he hasn't reinvented his game, and that means you're gonna be left behind. I mean, look at Steve Smith. I mean, he did find a way to score runs, as you rightly said. Look at Kane Williamson and Joe Root. I mean, they're just on another level. We used to think Virat was at that level, but I mean, Joe Root specifically has gotten ahead of Virat and so much. I mean, we
Yeah.
are right now thinking if Joe Root can break Tendulkar's record. Remember who we used to talk about like that? It was Virat Kohli.
Yes.
But that's not gonna happen. I think he's gone. Moving on, Rishabh Pant again. Big hopes in the series are, as you said, only reliable batter in the last year in test matches. When you look at the numbers in 5 matches, he has an average of 28.33, and only scored that blistering knock as his final knock in Australia, where he threatened to take the game away from them.
Right.
I mean, again, for someone who so much is dependent on in this test series, I expected a lot more from him as well. And sadly, it's going on forever for all the batters. But yeah, Rishabh Pant again, not a great series at all.
Definitely, definitely. We expected a lot more out of him since it was his third tour to Australia, and he was one of the experienced guys uh, in the batting order who also had the form going for him. So
Yeah,
we really expected a lot of maturity and a lot of good performances from him, but again we saw the same flamboyancy, but it was not really mixed with you can say controlled aggression and playing to the
yeah,
situation. So that was
yeah,
missing from his game. That's why he kept getting out. He was just playing in one single gear, which is just like
yeah,
attack, attack, and attack, and that didn't work out for him.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't mind him playing that ways. Like Travis Head plays like that, right? So, I mean, it's okay for him to play like that. But if the team management wants him to play like that, then team management should ensure that there are other batters around him who can hang in there while Rishabh does Rishabh things. And I won't blame Rishabh for the kind of performances that he has given in this series. Probably he was asked to play his shots through and through and not change, which is what we keep hearing all the captains today say, right? That we want to play our natural game, we want to play our natural game, don't want to change it. Fair enough. But then the batters around you are gonna have to perform because the way that you are playing, probably only 3 out of 10 innings you're gonna have big innings, and 7 times you're just gonna get out, and we expect that and accept it as well. But because the batters around him weren't performing that well, and we saw in the last innings of the Sydney Test what Rishabh Pant can do, even on the most difficult pitch of the entire series. He took everyone on and scored at a strike rate of around 180 or 190 and threatened to take the game away. That is Rishabh Pant for you. But yeah, because others around him looked really bad, I think he eventually turned out to be a really bad batter for us. His
Yeah,
keeping, I think, throughout the series was top notch. He
correct.
was picking all the catches. There was just, I think, one catch that he missed in the entire series. Yeah, that was all really good. He's really coming on leaps and bounds as a keeper. And I think he'll be one of the mainstays for India in the future. I really don't think, for that matter, that we should put the burden of captaincy on Bumrah. I think Rishabh Pant is your ideal guy because you don't want Bumrah to play all the games all the time and keep getting injured. So I think he has the mentality, he has the ability. It was a bad series for him. I think I'll have to give him a 5.5, a 6 probably because of his keeping, which was really good. Not more than that, but yeah, as a batter, I think he failed miserably in this series.
Definitely. Yeah. So I would probably give him a 6.5
Yeah,
because of his wicket keeping, but as a batter, he
yeah,
could have done more. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Moving on to Nitish Reddy. I mean, the kid didn't get a chance for me in bowling. whenever he did get a chance, he took a few wickets here and there. I thought he should have bowled a lot more, though his pace wasn't there. But you can't help it. You're the one who have chosen him to play in the starting 11. When you have done so, I think he should have bowled a lot more. I think that MCG ton was one of the best test hundreds I've seen by again just like Yashasvi, it was his first tour to Australia and it was his first test series ever. A lot was riding on him. There was a lot of pressure on the kid. I think given the circumstances, he performed well. Apart from that 100, there were a few other innings as well where he stuck in there, got those 40s and 50s. I think I'll probably give him a 7 because he took those wickets as well. And I think the future for him looks good. He needs to work a lot more on his bowling.
Yes.
Right. I think that the coaches will do. You have Morni Morkel there in the ranks who would, I think, work with him. He needs to take him under his wing, get his bowling sorted. But I think a big prospect for India to come out of this series in Nitish Reddy, and I think I didn't expect him to do this well. But yeah, I think he did really well.
Yeah, definitely with the bat, he did really well. And as you rightly said, he didn't get a lot of chances with the ball. And but whenever he bowled, he put on a decent performance. And I think,
Yeah,
yeah, if he can up his pace by 5, 6 clicks,
yeah,
he would be a good all-rounder to have. And
yeah,
if he can keep up his fitness levels, we would have a like to like replacement for Hardik
yeah,
Pandya in a test lineup.
yeah,
So I think he should really need to work on his pace and his bowling. And batting wise, I think,
yeah,
yeah, he's good and he will even perform better in domestic conditions as well.
yeah. Yeah, I think for him specifically, I'll have to say that though obviously he'll play the IPL. I think he should ball in every match at least 2 or 3 overs. He should ball in every match. He'll be free of the pressure in an IPL. He should try and ball a bit quicker. He's just 21. He'll grow in strength and the
Yes,
pace will come up 4 or 5 clicks. He should get into a habit of bowling a lot more. His batting is good enough. I mean. His defense is good. His temperament, he needs to work a bit more on it because it only showed in MCG and few tests here and there. But he needs a bit of work to do. But I think there is a place for a guy like Nitish Reddy in
yes,
this team. There definitely is. Probably a bit higher up on the order because we can't treat him as a genuine all-rounder at this point of time. But if he's bowling consistently 10 to 15 overs every day, 20 overs probably every day in a test match, yeah, I mean, he has a place for my side.
definitely, definitely. Yeah, he belongs right there. Just a bit of a changes and adjustments in his batting temperament. I think he fishes out of the off stump quite early in the innings, and that's how he got out in both of his innings in Sydney. But apart from that, yeah, he has the talent that is needed for this team, and he can really grow into this role. Definitely a six for me for
Yeah.
Nitish Reddy.
Hmm. So moving on to Jaddu, I mean, I actually didn't know that he played this series. I didn't see him anywhere. I didn't see him bowl. I didn't see him bat. I don't understand the point of starting him in the 11 when you already had Washi and Nitish. Nothing with the Jadeja thing made sense to me. I mean, for me, probably I'll have to give him a 3 or 3.5 because he really didn't do anything. But I would just question the selectors in that. Why would you even have to pick him in the starting 11 when there was no role for him in the side?
Yeah, definitely. Apart from that one knock of 70, he was nowhere to be seen in the entire series. Like he wasn't getting a chance to bowl, and quite fair because the conditions were not really supportive of him as well. But I think we could have played easily played Sarfaraz in place of Jadeja as a pure batsman, and even Sarfaraz can roll his arms for the number of overs that Jadeja got to bowl. That even Sarfaraz can bowl. So
Yeah,
there was no point in playing Jadeja in this test series. Yeah, you are correct.
yeah, yeah. What would you rate him? Then we'll probably move from him because I don't think and for that matter, I after Ashwin is gone and you're placing your bets on Washington, I don't really think that Jadeja too has a place right now on this side. Though he performs really well when he's in India, so I'll obviously keep him when you're playing a test match in India for till the time he's playing. But in England, I don't see Jadeja as much of a threat.
Definitely, I don't see Jadeja picked in the England side, but if he's picked, I
Yeah,
think that's another disaster waiting for just around the corner.
yeah,
And for this series, it will be, yeah, 3.5 for me.
yeah. Moving on to Washington, I mean that partnership in Melbourne with Nitish Reddy almost won the game for us. I think that Melbourne Test match specifically was one of the better Test matches that I've seen over the past couple of years. It was a good watch, and Washington again didn't get anything to bowl throughout the series. So, and when he did ball, he did end up picking a few wickets here and there, but there was just no opportunity to let him bowl. But as a batter, he showed that he can bat at 7 or 8. He's good enough for that. He showed that in the previous series as well. If as a team selection you want to replace your spinners with batting all-rounders who can spin, I think Akshar and Jadeja, Akshar and Kuldeep and Washington, you have to pick between one of those three. You'll have to make up your mind soon.
Yeah,
So is it going to be Kuldeep? Is it going to be Akshar? Is it going to be Washington? Because for me, I think all three of them are good enough. Kuldeep a lot better with the ball than with the bat. Both Akshar and Washington very similar, but pick one of them and then start getting them into the team uh, playing regularly. I think Washington for me again gets a 5.5.
yeah,
Didn't get much to bowl, but as a batter was solid.
yeah.
Many a times didn't have partners around him because he was coming in so late, so he was losing batters at the other end. It was a tough series for him, but yeah, I think I'll have a room for him in in my team.
Definitely, I think probably in the overseas condition, he can be a better option as compared to Kuldeep. But yeah, in domestic, it's hands down Kuldeep Yadav or Akshar
Yeah,
Patel should be there,
yeah,
not Washington Sundar. But on in overseas tours, you can take a bet on Washington Sundar, and he's quite a solid batsman. But he only got to bat with guys like Bumrah, Akashdeep, and probably Jadeja or Nitish Reddy. So he didn't have much support in building a partnership, but still he did build a good partnership with Nitish Reddy. So I think yeah, he's a good bet in the overseas tour, and yeah, probably the amount of chances based on the amount of chances he got a six for me.
yeah, yeah. So that's about the batters. We have batters and all rounders. We have gone through all of it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been a really a ranty and a depressing kind of an episode. But let's start with the bowling, where I think we were good. Starting with our spearhead, Mr. Jasprit Bumrah. I think as an Indian cricket fan and as an Indian cricket supporter, I think this is the best series I've seen an Indian fast bowler have. I wasn't there at the time when Kapil must be bowling and he used to be that threatening. I don't know. I don't remember that. As a fast bowler, I think I've never seen anything as good as Jasprit Bumrah was throughout this series. And we were talking in our previous episodes, Jasprit needs to have a rest in the third or the fourth test match. It just had to happen. They didn't give him that rest because they couldn't afford to, because he was the only one who was delivering with the ball for them consistently. So they couldn't afford to. I completely get why Gambhir would take a risk in playing Jasprit all five test matches. It did have a negative effect because he got injured in the end, but masterclass from Jesse, and this guy is just the best.
definitely he was way above all the other bowlers that were bowling on
Yeah,
the same pitch, and look at this is evident from the average that he has in this series, an average of 13. You cannot imagine how good that is. Like
Yeah,
even after bowling 150 overs, just giving close to 400 runs, and with three fifers and overall 32
yeah,
wickets, and that too
yeah,
when he didn't get to bowl in properly in second innings, the last innings of Australia, because he was already unfit at that time. So this tally would have gone even higher, maybe close to 36,
yeah,
if he would have bowled in the last
yeah,
innings as well. So yeah,
yeah. I mean,
that's
he
a
is.
tremendous performance, a performance for the
Yeah,
ages. I think this was peak
yeah,
Bumrah. Probably
yeah,
when he comes to Australia the next time in the Border Gavaskar series, we won't get to see this kind of a
yeah,
performance because this was his peak. He's already 31
yeah,
years old, so he would be close to 33 by the time he comes next to Australia. So I think this was the best of Bumrah that we got to see this time. Unfortunately, in a losing cause, but still,
yeah,
he really deserved the man of the series that he got.
yeah, yeah. I think, uh, as you rightly said, past year or so, continuing, he has just been unplayable in any format. I mean, T20, ODIs, Test matches. He's just been unplayable, and I'm just a bit afraid for him because he is so good. There is a temptation to play him in every game, and I mean that probably will shorten his career because if you ask me, I mean the next series in England in June becomes really important for him if he can, and if he's fit enough, I'm 100% sure he'll maintain this form because he's just so good. I think over the years, when we look back at BGT 24, it'll just be for Bumrah. I mean, that was one of the greatest displays of fast bowling I've seen over the course of a five game test series. And yeah, I mean, a lot of bowlers are going to be inspired in this country by the performance that he has had. It was a sad thing to see that he wasn't getting the support that he required. As you rightly said, there was no Shami, there was no Arshdeep. He should have gotten a bit more support, but yeah, the man showed that he can take the burden on his own and he can fight a lone battle. And I mean, yeah, kudos to him. And probably the best thing to get out of this series, the joy that I saw watching Bumrah bowl, for me, he's a 9.5 for this series. The only thing that I would probably criticize him for is that he shouldn't have really bowled himself that much in the Melbourne test and in the Gaba test. Just because Rohit is asking you to, I mean, you're a bowler, you know what your body is going through, and it was actually becoming like a farcical kind of a situation. Like in Melbourne, the amount of overs that he bowled, it's like you bowling an entire one-day match on your own. I mean, it
Yeah,
was just not fair on him. The workload was too much, and he shouldn't have gone through that. Probably he should have requested Rohit to, I mean, we get Nitish Reddy to bowl a few overs, man. Don't keep bowling me all the time. But
right.
it was just a brilliant, brilliant performance from him. A 9.5.
Definitely a 9.5 from me as well. And it was as perfect as it comes. And I think there couldn't have been a better tour for Jasprit Bumrah to prove that he's the number one bowler in the world right now. So
Yeah.
definitely performance for the ages.
Yeah. Quickly before we wrap up the three other bowlers, I think Siraj first three test matches didn't really turn up, didn't show anything. We started hearing rumors that he might be dropped for the fourth and the fifth test, and he started coming back in the Melbourne, and then in Sydney he was bowling a lot better than he has done his in the series. But overall, I mean, he was bowling the long overs. I would give him that. But there was no magical outswinger that Siraj used to bowl that you saw probably in Sri Lanka when he was getting wickets like crazy. I mean, there was not much bite in his bowling.
Yes.
Probably a 5.5 for me for Siraj. I mean, not much to talk about apart from the fact that he just shared that workload with Bumrah, which he had to.
Yeah, he had to like he bowled. I think he's the maximum. He's the bowler with the maximum balls bowled from Indian side. Like he bowled 157 overs, six more than Bumrah.
Yeah,
But even in wicket tally, you see there are 20 wickets, but those were not at the crucial moments where we needed that he could have joined shoulders with Bumrah and just wrapped up the innings of Australia quickly. So those
yeah,
wickets have come, but not at the right time. So I think, yeah, a bit disappointed from just from Mohammad Siraj, and I think we would have been a better side if he would have been able to bowl better.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, the numbers would show 20 wickets, so it's 5 wickets, 4 wickets a test match. That again, I mean, for a bowler like Siraj, he would have gotten those wickets. He was bowling bad actually, man. And the eye test wasn't there.
And he was
So,
really
I mean,
leaking runs as well, like more than
yeah, he was
600
leaking a
runs.
lot of runs. He was leaking a lot of runs. There was no pressure that was getting built. He was, I mean, yeah, for me, he has to step up in England. Though he would go to England for me simply because of when he gets that swing going, he's actually
Yes,
very good. And he is the only fit bowler for us who can bowl those long spells apart from Bumrah. So I think
yes,
he will go to England along with a third pacer, but he needs to step up and he needs to start performing. It does take a while when and specifically when you're bowling up with someone like a Bumrah, everybody is comparing you to a Bumrah. But yeah, he should have done a lot more. I
definitely,
think
definitely.
Akashdeep was better. I think this series Akashdeep was better than Siraj. Akashdeep was bowling better lengths. He was conceding lesser runs. It was sad and it was for us a bit unlucky that he got injured before the Sydney Test. Because if he was there, I think again we had a chance to draw the Test match. But yeah, I think I was fairly impressed by Akashdeep, and he needs to maintain his fitness, but his
Yeah,
bowling was good.
yeah,
And
and
for me,
he
like
was
I think
unlucky
seven
as
or
well.
7.5 for Akash.
Yes, 7.5 for Akash. He was quite unlucky as well because three or four catches were dropped
Yeah,
repeatedly on his balls.
yeah,
So otherwise, his wicket tally of five could have reached to a
yeah,
10, and two
yeah,
and 10 wickets in two matches is it's quite a good figure
yeah,
for guys like Akashdeep who were playing first
yeah,
time on Australian soil. So I think yeah, fairly good performance from Akashdeep. And if he would have been fit in Sydney, I think we could have
yeah,
a better scenario, a better match overall.
yeah, yeah. I think then moving on with the final two, Harshit
Harshit
Rana and
Rana.
Prasidh Krishna. I think both one played the first test, one played the last. Both had the same issues. Both got wickets, but both lead tremendous amount of runs. And
Yes.
in the first test, at least we had scored a lot of runs in the second innings. So we had that buffer. So Harshit could probably leak a lot of runs. But in the last test match when Prasidh was bowling, we didn't have any total to defend at all. And that point of time when Prasidh was leaking those runs in the first few overs, and Khwaja just took him to the cleaners. I mean, that really was very disappointing. I think both of these guys have the skill. Prasidh is also tall, so he gets that extra bounce, which can be really handy in England. But they need to play a lot more red ball cricket before they uh, they become your third choice seamer in important series like Australia and England. So I think one game played, not much to talk about there, but they need to improve.
Yeah,
Specifically the
definitely.
leaking of the runs. I mean, look at Scotty Boland. The guy never gives away an inch, and they
Right.
were just leaking too many runs.
That was the difference. Yeah, they had replacements for their injured frontline bowlers, and we did not. So
Yeah.
that's where the balance tilted in favor of Australia.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, then we've covered everything. I think we'll cover the Australia players in the next episode. So guys, keep tuning in and keep watching our episodes. We just love doing this. We love talking to you about cricket, and yeah, a lot more is to come. So Divyansh, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think just hoping for a better performance on England tour in terms of Test cricket, and yeah, looking forward to Champions Trophy. Let's see if we can end the drought for a Champions Trophy as well this time. So yeah, we will be back with the scorecard of Australian players in the next episode. Till then, keep watching, sharing, and subscribing. Have a great day. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.